Hello everyone, welcome to this session. In this session, we are going to discuss about two-dimensional array and multi-dimensional array. Let's start with the two-dimensional array first. To create an array, we have to declare it, instantiate it, and initialization has to do. In the case of declaration, you have to specify a data type, the name of the array, and in the case of two-dimensional array, we will have to provide a two square bracket. This bracket denotes it's a two-dimensional array where the first bracket is for the row and the second bracket for the column. Let's take an example. I wanted to store a percentages of student. For that, I'm creating here array of type double. The name of array is percent and these are the two square bracket. Once you declare the array, you can instantiate the array with the help of new operator and you have to provide a row size and the column size. The column size is optional here, but row size you have to provide, which is mandatory. We'll see this kind of structure in the multi-dimensional array. For now, we are creating an array of 5 rows and the 2 columns here. Internally, the value blocks will be created and each value block has a row index and the column index. If you wanted to initialize the value block, then you have to provide both a row index and the column index for initialization. This is how you can create a two-dimensional array. Let's discuss how you can implement practically and how you can visualize the memory structure of the two-dimensional array. This is the declaration of the array. Once you instantiate an array, this kind of structure you can visualize, which will have a row and column and value blocks. In this case, we created a 5 row and 2 columns of array. That's why you can see here the index is starting from 0 to 4 and there are 2 columns. The value blocks got initialized with a default value as per the default behavior of Java. If you wanted to set or get a value from any of the value block, then you have to provide a row and column index. If I wanted to initialize the array, then I'm using a row index as 0, column index as 0, so that we will get a hold of this value block and we are setting the value inside it. Similarly, we are also providing a value for the 0th row and the first column with this line of code. Similarly, you can initialize each and every value block like this. This is how you can create an array and you can set a value inside array. To achieve this kind of structure, we have 4 different options. These are the 4 different options to create a two-dimensional array. This structure and which the structure which we discussed previously is not same. Here we are creating an array of 2 rows and 5 columns. In the first option, we are declaring the array, the instantiation is happening here, and the initialization. In the second option, the declaration and instantiation is happening on the same line, and the initialization we are doing separately. In the third option, the declaration, instantiation, and initialization is happening in a one line. Here, we are not providing a row size and the column size. It will be automatically identified based on the value which we provided during initialization. Here, we have a 2 curly brackets. In the two-dimensional array, the number of curly brackets are nothing but the number of rows, and the value present inside a curly bracket are considered as a column. In this structure, we have 2 curly brackets, that means 2 rows are there, and there are total 5 values, means there are 5 columns and 2 rows are there inside this array. Similarly, we are creating an array with the fourth option where we are not explicitly instantiating an array, but the instance will be created internally. This is how you can create a two-dimensional array with 4 different options. We'll discuss about a multi-dimensional array as well, because multi-dimensional array also stores in the form of row and column structure. But the difference here is in the multi-dimensional array, the column will be dynamically allocated. That means every row can have a different number of columns. Let's see the syntax of multidimensional array. You can find the multidimensional array syntax is exactly same as the two-dimensional array. The only difference here in the instantiation, we are not providing a column size. The row size is mandatory, which you have to provide. You will keep the column size as optional, and this column size we will provide later. Let's take an example here. I'm creating here a multidimensional array where I'm providing row size as 3 and column size I'm keeping as empty. So here there are three rows created which has the index 0, 1 and 2. The column size we can provide for every row with this line of code. Here I am specifying for a array 0th row, I want to create a three columns. So the three columns will be created here and every value block got initialized with the default value of the int type. Similarly, you can provide the column size for the first row and the second row. If you see the structure now, we have a different number of columns for every row, and that is why this is called as a multidimensional array. If you wanted to set or get a value in the multidimensional array, then you have to use a row index and the column index. Here, I'm initializing some of the value blocks with the help of row and column index. So we specify a 20 value in the 0th row and the 0th column. Now we are initializing the first row and the first column, 0th row and the second column, and so on. This is how you can create a multidimensional array. This is all about the two-dimensional and multidimensional array. We'll execute some of the programs of two and multidimensional array in the next session. Thank you for being here. We'll continue in the next session.